What's up, CG? We're live, brother.
What's going on, you fucking prick? It's been way too long.
So tell us why you look like Jim Carrey later in life. Go ahead. Let's start the show right there, bro.
I have the quarantine beard going, and I'm not one of those guys that's going to let their wife cut his hair. I don't know, value my hair too much. I got the man buns kicking. I'm ready to go. UFC's back.
This is Brews and Bets. So what are you drinking tonight?
Dude, I just got done working, so sorry that I held you up, but have some coffee here. I know it's almost 10 o'clock at night, but got the Molson Canadian. How about yourself?
I got I'll show you what I got here. Founders All Day IPA.
There you go. Grand Rapids, Michigan. What?
It's pretty good. So.
Fuck yeah.
But we're here to talk fights, so let's talk some fights, brother.
Let's do it.
Let me bring in a share screen real quick. Share the screen. We'll get some odds up there.
All right.
We'll start right from the beginning. Does that sound good?
Let's do it.
All right. So first fight here. Let me open this up, and then I'll throw it to you. I mean, I know we don't love this fight, Ryan Spann and Sam Alvey. But what do you think here? Spann became a minus 420 favorite all of a sudden. He wasn't that high earlier in the week, was he?
No, I thought he was around minus 350. Could be wrong there, but either way, I'm not as confident in Spann as many people are. Fight concerns me a little bit. I think Spann's a little bit overrated. You look at his wins: Devin Clark, Nogueira, who's like 55 years old, Luis Henrique. So Spann is a fade for me just because he's a little bit reckless. He's been knocked out twice, and there are other fighters in that 9,000 range that I like much better, Verdum in particular. But with that being said, I mean, Spann definitely has a tangible skill set. He's tall, rangy, powerful, has a nasty guillotine, but he comes in hot, he gets reckless, and that plays right into Smiling Sam's game plan. I think Sam could potentially catch him. I don't think Spann is that good, but I mean, when you look at Sam Alvey, the dude is just so grumpy, low volume, unathletic, stiff as a fucking board. So, I mean, I might take a couple punt plays on Alvey, but that's it. I just can't envision myself taking Spann over Verdum when I think the likely outcome in that Verdum fight is Fabricio winning inside the distance, rounds 1 or 2. So I don't want to get ahead on the slate here, but small exposure to Sam. I'm going to pass on, small exposure to Alvey, passing on Spann.
All right, so you're taking this from a DraftKings perspective. Did you play FanDuel at all?
I did not. No,
did not. All right. So I played one lineup. I didn't really pay attention to the lineup. It didn't cash, so I don't even know, how the scoring really went. But I think it's like 1.5 times. You put one guy in a slot for 1.5 times, and then you pick the rest of your team from there.
Okay.
But I haven't even looked at the lines. I'll just tell you what I like betting wise. In this fight, I really don't like – I think Ryan Spann's going to win the fight, but I don't like betting minus 420 on Ryan Spann. Again,
no.
Sam Alvey, I mean, I think we talked about this during the week, right? Because we talk fights all week, bust each other's chops about stuff and that. But Sam Alvey just isn't going to win this fight if he just doesn't connect on a punch. He's got a puncher's chance. I think that's more or less what we said in the group chat. Yeah. But if he doesn't connect on a punch, he's not winning this fight. So I don't love it. I think you can go Ryan Spann inside the distance, but I wouldn't really touch it. So
yeah,
I'm surprised you're actually playing it.
Are you gonna? Well, I'm playing Smiling Sam in the low dollar, high pool tournaments.
Okay, just hoping for
that. The $8, the $5. I'm not playing him in the 555. I'm not playing him in I believe there's a 55. I'm highly exposed this week, but yeah, in all the GPPs that require a more expensive investment, Sam's a pass.
Yeah, I kind of just
pass. Look at Ryan Spann, 3.26 strikes per minute. Doesn't offer any takedown upside. Sam Alvey's one of those fighters that he just stagnates production for everybody, himself, his opponent. But, if he gets reckless, Sam could knock him out. And at 6,900, I'd rather take a chance on Sam than Spann at 9,300. So,
but again, this is a GPP play for you. You're not playing this in any kind of a cash game, right?
Hell no. And I want to make it clear, I do think Spann's going to win.
All right, so let's get into this second fight. Bryce Mitchell and Charles Rosa. And, I put out my initial take earlier in the week, and I took Mitchell I think it was by decision. So I'm gonna pick everything for this. Remember the old UFC Pick'em game? Did you ever play that, the old UFC Pick'em? It was for no money. So that's how I kind of got started in this whole thing. So I'm gonna pick winner, round, and method of victory for every fight. So first fight, I'm gonna go Ryan Spann by decision. All right, that's my pick now on Thursday night. This second fight, I'm gonna let you give the analysis. I'll break in with my analysis, and then I'll give my UFC Pick'em analysis and finishing. So what do you think here? You got Bryce Mitchell. I believe his testicles are back in place after he almost Didn't he almost remove both testicles or something like that?
Was it a power drill or impact driver?
Who sits on a power drill on the top of a ladder or something? I think was the story. Rosa, if you go back to his last fight against Manny Bermudez, he was getting destroyed on the ground. He basically didn't want to strike on his feet, was getting destroyed on the ground, and then caught him with an arm bar. And I believe Bermudez is out of the UFC now. Isn't he fighting in like CES or something like that on the East Coast?
And I think he missed weight there too.
Yeah, and he missed weight against Mitchell. Not Mitchell, I'm sorry. He missed weight against Rosa.
Correct.
When they fought. He always misses weight.
Yeah.
I kind of like Bermudez, but yeah, you're right. He always misses weight, and he's lost. He lost to Charles Rosa. So, go ahead, CG. What do you think here?
A lot of people are on Thug Nasty's nuts right now, and I don't really get it. He's a tough, scrappy kid, but he lands less than 2 strikes per minute, lands less than 2 takedowns per fight. I think people like his personality more than his fighting abilities because, he's a funny kid if you follow him on Instagram and Twitter. But you look at Rosa, who's 7,700, lands almost 4 strikes per minute, 3 takedowns per fight. Rosa is the better striker. He has better jiu-jitsu accolades, trains at American Top Team. But the one thing Mitchell does have that's superior to Rosa is the wrestling. So if he can take Rosa down and neutralize him, that is his path to victory. But in DraftKings, what's that going to score you? 65, 70 points maybe, right? And there's a lot of recency bias because he just beat Matt Sales. Matt Sales is not a competent grappler at all. He is the Muay Thai coach over at Alliance MMA. Great striker. Majority of his wins by knockout, but not a good grappler. If you get subbed with a fucking twister, you're not a UFC caliber grappler. So I think people need to realize that. And I think that's why the lines are what they are in this fight. But when you look at the overall paths to victory, I think Rosa has more. I think the fight remains standing. Rosa's the better striker. Rosa has the better jiu-jitsu, but Mitchell has the better wrestling. So I'm going to go with the value in this match, and I think the value's on Rosa. When you look at the volume, both striking and grappling, and you look at the paths, I think Rosa's the upside play here. What do you think, Steve?
The value is on this can of beer I just opened. But
yeah,
I'll be honest with you. I think I like Bryce Mitchell because I think he's going to be better on the feet. I don't think he's going to want to go down to the ground, although he can go to the ground. I think that's where Charles Rosa is at his best. So why go there with him? Can he keep this on the feet? I don't know. I don't know how good Rosa is. I don't know how good Mitchell is, to be honest with you. So I think I'm going to stay away from this. I think my early take was Mitchell by decision. Right now, I wouldn't bet it, but I still think I'm going to go Mitchell by decision. So
I get that. I think it's going to be a very close fight, but close fights I usually side with the dog. So that's where I'm at.
I'll even go a step further. I would like to see it go to the ground. That would be where we may get some action. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's where someone can get caught in something. You got two guys. Rose is a black belt BJJ. Bryce Mitchell, is he a black belt?
No, I think he's a brown belt.
Brown belt. So that, I mean, again, I don't think he's going to want to go to the ground with Charles Rosa, especially against Bermudez. The way he didn't want to strike, it was kind of odd to me. I mean, over 2.5 rounds, minus 215. I don't mind that at all. I think this is going to go to decision. I don't think they're going to go to the ground. Actually, fight goes to decision, minus 185. I like that. I wouldn't mind throwing that in a parlay, personally. So let's get to this next fight. CG, what are we looking at here? We love this fight. I'm just gonna tell you right now, Vicente Luque is definitely gonna be in a parlay of mine. And fight does not go to decision, minus 360. I love that. You can throw that in as many parlays as you want. If you're the parlay king, which I know CG is, CG, where are you at?
I mean, I'm highly exposed to this fight, mainly from a prop perspective. I love that line. Fight doesn't go to decision. To be honest, it was higher earlier in the week and last week. I think it got up to minus 450, and I think it's down to minus 360 right now. So the line came down a little bit, but yeah, I think it's a great parlay piece. Nico Price has never been to decision in the UFC. I don't think he's going to start on Saturday. But in terms of my preferred play, I like Luque. Luque lands more volume. He's more technical. And he already beat Price in a fight that wasn't really competitive at all. Luque is the pick, but Price is a wild card. He overcame a lot of adversity to beat Vic, Means, Randy Brown in his last 3 wins. You can never count the guy out. I think he's a good leverage play if you want him as a dog in GPPs. So Luque is the pick, but proceed with caution. Luque has absorbed a lot of damage in his last few fights. I mean, Thompson beat him handily. Perry fought him in a very close contest, and Brian Barberina too. That was one of my favorite fights. I believe that was 2019, but one of the best fights of the year. I think there's like over 300 significant strikes in that fight landed. So Luque needs to clean up his striking defense, but he's pretty much better everywhere on the feet. Has good jits, good Darce chokes. But Nico Price, I mean, yeah, he's dangerous too. So I'm going to be a nervous wrecker in that fight. But yeah, the play for me is Luque.
Did you bet Luque straight, or did you just parlay it with inside the distance?
So most of my bets have been betting this fight to end inside the distance, but I will be highly exposed to Luque in DraftKings.
Well, listen, you're getting a lot of shout outs here as the parlay king.
Nice.
So you're living up to the nickname. You definitely
put a
bunch. Yeah, you put a bunch, bro, on this fight, and I love it. I'm definitely, I'm not gonna lie. I'm betting.
What do the fans think about the man buns?
No comments on the man bun yet, but
no,
not yet.
It's
coming. It's coming.
All right.
It's only the third fight.
Okay.
So yeah, if you're a betting man, which we both are, Luque's the bet, and then inside the distance. Even if you want to get a little crazy, fight won't start round 3. I think that's something you may want to look at minus 210. I wouldn't mind that either.
Has Price ever been to round 3 in the UFC? I don't believe he has. I don't think he has.
I don't know.
That's a good bet. What does that bring the line down to? Minus 210. Considerable. Like it. Like it a lot. Yeah, no, that's a great play.
Let me try to answer that question for you with Nico Price right here, because we're doing our best to share as much information as possible.
You want to bet that I'm right? I'll bet you that I'm right.
That he's never
seen round 3 in the UFC. What are we betting?
See this? Let's go all in on this. All right. We'll zoom in. We can show everybody. So Nico Price, first round, first, second. He's never been to the third.
Yes.
Yeah, he's never been to the third round.
So what do I get?
I mean, I'm the one that suggested the bet, CG.
Oh, fuck you. Fine.
Right? Am I wrong or no?
You're right.
Okay. So I suggested the bet not knowing that. And then, yeah, I mean,
That's a great bet. Brings it down from minus 360 to minus 210.
Yeah, and not for nothing, but Luque is gonna. If it gets to the ground, Luque's so much better on the ground, and if it's on the feet, I mean, Nico Price is gonna get hit.
Yeah.
So and if Nico Price does connect, it's gonna be inside. So I think we just stumbled on something there. That
Brings it down from an implied probability of 78%. Fight does not go to decision. To fight does not start. Round 3 brings the implied probability down to 68%.
I feel like you're summoning Yanni the Greek right now.
Hey,
with the implied probability.
that's a good bet.
Shout out Yanni.
That's a good bet.
All right, so this next fight, anybody who watched anything that I put out this week on my Twitter, I'm on Uriah Hall here, and Uriah Hall, from what I understand, I think ESPN did a special on him. I don't know if it was like a short little thing that Ariel Helwani did or Brett Akamoto, but Uriah Hall is basically living in Fortis MMA. Right now, I don't know everything that they showed. Say it again.
He's living in the gym.
He's living in the gym right now.
Oh,
yeah, okay. and the weird part is ESPN went in and recorded, and there was like basically nobody else really there at all. So I don't know where he lives. I'm not sure about that. I know Jacare lives in Florida somewhere, right? I don't know if he's training there or not.
He lives in Orlando. I heard that he was like training CrossFit with his wife. I don't think he's getting good training in, from what I've heard.
He's training CrossFit?
CrossFit with his wife. That's what the rumor is. Don't hold me to that, Steve. That's what I'm hearing.
All right.
Because he trained with the Alex Nicholson, Mike Perry.
Yeah.
A smaller gym in Orlando. So,
right.
Which isn't a big camp as is, right? And then
not that I know of.
Top notch.
Not that I know. Wasn't Mike Perry jumping around though? Wasn't he at
He was at Jackson Wink for a little bit. Okay. Yeah, he's all over the place.
Yeah, I remember I sat cage side for Alex Nicholson in New York City. I covered it when he was in what did they just what's the promotion? I can't think of it now.
PFL?
Fight for a minute. PFL, right?
Yeah.
The opening night of PFL when he knocked that guy out. Crazy post-fight interview. He's a riot, that guy.
Yeah.
But so what do you think here? Uriah and Jacare Sosa.
So Jacare hasn't subbed anybody since Tim Boach, which I think was like 3 years ago. I believe you were at that event. I think it was in Brooklyn. He lost 3 of his last 4 fights. He's 40 years old. Officially, at this point, he is a gatekeeper. And like I said, I don't think he's getting the best training in right now. I think he's at that point in his career where he's fighting to make money. He's not fighting to get the belt because I think he knows that his time has passed. Then you have Uriah Hall, who's getting older. Uriah Hall is 36 years old, but guy is super dynamic, very explosive, knockout power. One thing that's pretty impressive about Hall is that he's never been subbed. He was able to evade submissions from Carlos Jr., who's world-renowned jiu-jitsu practitioner, ended up overcoming adversity to pull off a victory in that fight, floored Carlos Jr. So Hall is the more powerful striker, is better knockout power, better cardio. If the fight remains standing, I think Hall is going to sleep Jacare, but that's a big if. My concern is that Jacare is able to take down Hall, and Hall has a 69% takedown defense, but I'm just worried that he's going to take Hall's back, and Hall's going to end up defending the rear naked choke for 10 minutes, and it's going to be a real boring fight. That's my concern. So I'm limiting my exposure, but there aren't too many underdogs that I like on this slate, so I think Uriah Hall's the play here. Just going to tread lightly with Jacare moving forward. Like I said, his best days are behind him.
So I'm on Uriah Hall here also. And I'm going to go, again, I told you I'm going to give you fighter, round, and finish. So go back to that last fight. I got so excited with with Luque that I didn't even give the fight around and finish. I think it's going to be Luque, TKO KO. I could see a sub, but I'm going to call it TKO KO because I think that Nico Price wants to dance, and I think it's going to be in the first round. I think he knocks him out in the first round. So CG, I don't know what his price is, but you may want to put Luque. You may want to put Luque on a couple lineups.
Oh, God, yeah. He's 9,100. He's 9,000 actually. 9,000.
Yeah, I mean, I think it could be a first round finish, to be honest with you. He's got the right dancing partner to finish this in the first or second round. So
he's my second favorite play in that range.
Okay, who's your first?
Purdue.
Okay, I do like him too. We talked about him earlier in the week. So I'm on Uriah Hall here. I think he's a great play, and I think he's going to finish him in the third round. I think it's going to be Uriah Hall, KO TKO in the third round. Maybe some ground and pound. Maybe he hurts Jacare on the feet. Jacare goes down to the ground, and he may pound him out. So that's what I'm looking at there in that fight.
You know what I would like to look into? I think Uriah Hall is undefeated since he made the change over to Fortis. I think he started training there after the Costa fight. And even in the Costa fight, he was pretty competitive. But if that's the case, then, he went to Fortis, beat Yvonne Lewis, then beat Carlos Jr. And tell you what, Fortis MMA, that's a top-notch camp right now.
Yes, it is.
Jeff 100%. Neal, CDF, a lot of good guys training over there. Brian Spann, I believe, too.
Uriah Hall. Do you know when he went to Fortis? I'll bring up his fights.
Within the last year and a half, I want to say.
So if we're looking at dates here, was it after Paulo Costa?
I'd have to look into it, like I said.
I mean, he could be 2-0. Could be 2-0 going on to his third fight. Again, Yvonne Lewis has kind of been a dud, right?
Yeah, I think he came in with a lot of hype. I mean, he was beating the piss out of Uriah Hall until he gassed out.
Yeah, he was.
That happens with Hall all the time, and that concerns me. Hall's kind of like Donald Cerrone. He's a very slow starter. Needs to get punched in the face to realize that he's in a fight. And then he comes on strong. That was his fight against Jotko, too. Jotko just pummeled him in the first round. Hall got back to his feet, pulled off a KO, but it's not very predictive. You don't want to bet on that happening consistently, right?
No, I agree. What about my editing skills right now with the sheet in and out, the bets and everything? Any other bets you like here? Inside the distance?
I did place a small wager on Uriah Hall, and I believe I got him when he was at like plus 130. So
did you place it straight?
Straight bet, yep.
Well, I may dabble right here. Hall wins by KO TKO.
Okay.
On here, it doesn't have them.
290, yeah.
But I may even just get a little crazy. I may go, a couple bucks, nothing crazy, and go Uriah Hall third round KO TKO because that's what I'm calling the round, and I really like that round. So
that'd be impressive.
All right, let's see.
I'm just concerned that Hall gets neutralized. That's all.
Yeah, and that's
what happened against Carlos Jr. It happened against Jotko. So he needs to keep the fight standing. If he does, he wins the fight.
But let's just say it gets to the third round, and in that third round, what's going to happen in that third round? Maybe Jacare is a little tired. He has gas in the past.
Yeah, he has. But he did go across round with
wife. With all that CrossFit with his wife, he may be okay.
That's true.
Okay. All right, let's get to this next fight. I'm going to leave this up to you. I picked Carlos Esparza by decision. I would love to see Marcel Waterson win this fight. Nicest person in the world. Very, very nice. Covered a number of events where she's fought in those events, and she's just real nice, nice to everybody. The UFC people, her opponent, the reporters after the fight. So I kind of like Esparza to win this fight, though, by decision. But, CG, what do you think?
I agree. Esparza lands 3.5 takedowns per fight. Waterson has 57% takedown defense. Waterson is more well-rounded. Esparza is a specialist, but what she does very well. I feel like people sleep on Esparza all the time. Like, you know what you're getting out of her, like 70 to 80 points on DraftKings, but she just wins. And she has some impressive wins too. So I'm not going to overanalyze this fight more than I need to. More times than not, takedown probability versus takedown defense. Poor takedown defense equates to a likely outcome. I think Esparza wins by decision, and I think this fight is lined correctly.
Okay. I don't mind the line at all. I may put a bet. I may not. I haven't put a bet in yet. But I agree with you. I just want to move on to the next fight because I'm not thrilled about that fight.
I agree.
So next fight we have
Watson has a great ass, though, doesn't she?
No comment. All right. So Fabricio Werdum.
Sorry, Mr. Ricciardi.
No, you know what? I'm gonna post a picture for you, and I want you to tweet it out. So everybody follow CG on Twitter. After this, he's gonna tweet out a picture of Michelle. He can take care of that. So Alexei Oleinik and Fabricio Werdum. I think we're in agreement. I don't know. I'm not gonna say that I talked you into it, but I feel like the first lineup I made on DraftKings and FanDuel, I sent you, and then like a day or two later, you were like, "Oh, I missed this. I should have had this." And I was like, "Bro, I sent you the lineups with Werdum in both lineups." So tell me what brought you, because I feel like I had it before you did, but what brought you to Werdum so quickly?
We're breaking down that fight right now?
Are we? Did I skip one?
Oh, no, you're right. Yeah. It wasn't Werdum that I had an issue with. It was something else in your lineup that I didn't like. It definitely wasn't Fabricio. I think this fight is very self-explanatory, and I think there's a line in this fight that is the most valuable line on the card. I really do. But I don't want to recycle everybody else's analysis because I think this is very, very obvious. Werdum and Oleinik are both excellent on the ground. I think Werdum is a little bit better. Oleinik's kind of a specialist with his head and arm chokes, the Ezekiel choke. So I think their grappling nullifies each other. And so it comes down to who's the better striker. Werdum is a very skilled Muay Thai striker, trains under Rafael Cordero. So I think Werdum wins this fight by TKO, and I think he does it in round 1 or round 2. Oleinik's like 67 years old at this point, but the thing is, the guy's still fucking competitive. He just got done choking out Mo Green. He won at least 3 of his last 5 fights, and his last 2 losses were Harris and Overeem, who I think are top 10 heavyweights. So I mean, you got to respect the Russian Bear. Holy shit, man! If he gets you to the ground, he gets a hold of that neck, you're going to be tapping. But I mean, Fabricio is too skilled. He's a vet too. I mean, both of these guys are older than shit. And the last time Fabricio fought, he got knocked out, I think, in round 5 by Volkov. But Fabricio's he's been out for a while, right? 2 years.
Yeah, with the what do you have? Steroids?
I forgot what it was. I didn't know if it was injury or suspension, but regardless, I mean, Oleinik has a 5-minute gas tank, right? Werdum went three to 4 rounds in Mexico City, where the elevation's like 10,000 feet, against Cain Velasquez and beat him there. So Verdum's never had cardio issues. I think he gassed out a little bit against Volkov, but whatever. It was late in the fight, championship rounds. So I think Werdum wins. I think he wins fairly easily. And I got him at, I think, minus 130 ITD. What's he at now? Werdum wins inside the distance. Can you go down a little bit?
Yes, sir. Do they have it here?
Yeah, minus 135 he is right now.
Minus 135. So you got
I think I think that's the most valuable line on the entire slate. I think it's obvious that he wins. I think it's obvious that he does so inside the distance. Oleinik at this point just can't go 15 minutes. Just can't.
You see that right there?
Plus 180. Whew.
I kind of like that, man.
Kind of like that too.
You know what I mean? I just don't see. Well, let me ask you this. I think fight doesn't start round 3. Let's see what that looks like. Fight doesn't end. All right, so they don't even have these kind of lines up here yet. Fight doesn't start round 3 is a great bet. How many times has Oleinik been to round 3?
What's that line?
Which one? Fight doesn't start round 3. It's not up here yet.
Oh, okay.
But how many times? Here's a trivia question for you. How many times has Oleinik been to round 3?
Dude, the guy's had like 87 fights. Are you talking about since he's been fighting in the UFC?
Yeah.
I know he went to decision with I can't even pronounce his name. The dude from Poland, Omielanczek, I think it is. But
you know, I'm bringing it up right now.
Yeah, no, I know he went to
set you up. I had this ready.
But
are you looking at it?
You know what? I'm going to say that's the only time he's been to decision in the UFC. That's it.
Here we go. His last 5 fights, only one of them got to round 2.
Okay.
All right.
There's that decision right there.
Decision. Yeah, that was the only fight that went to decision.
Yep.
Most of them are round 1. So I'm saying it right now.
I don't think there's a man out there, Steve, that can beat me in UFC trivia.
No, you're pretty good.
They don't exist.
I'm definitely not as good as you, but you're pretty good. But I can definitely lay the traps out there and see what you got. Mr. Beans, Brews and Bets are back. You know what? CG texted me yesterday and he was like, "Yo, let's do a pod." He wanted to do it last night. I'm like, "Bro, I'm still working." And then tonight, I set something up, and he had me here for a half an hour. So I don't know. I mean, is it back? I don't know. We'll find out. He keeps me waiting for another half hour. It's
we'll see.
It's a 1 week.
Maybe if you assholes that tune in actually give us some thumbs up, we'll consider it.
You know what? That would be
bitches out there that are giving us some thumbs down. We have to get to the bottom of that.
Throw in. I don't know why that would happen. All right, let's get to this next fight, partner. Let's figure this out. Let's get a lineup here. The people want to see the lines. All right, Anthony Pettis and Donald Cerrone.
This fight is giving me fucking heartburn.
Is it really? Why?
Yeah, I go back and forth.
Do you really?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Pettis. I said Pettis earlier in the week. I think that Pettis is gonna be able to. I don't think this is hitting the ground. I think these guys both know that they're just looking for a bonus. They're looking for some extra money. So they're getting their paycheck and they're looking for some extra money. And the only way they get that is if they finish this fight in the first or second round, something crazy. And Pettis kind of has a flair for the dramatic. You know what I mean? He's always had that flair for the dramatic, and even recently, he floored Ferguson, right? He had Ferguson hurt. I was at that fight in Vegas. That's actually our backdrop right now. Because Ferguson, that was from the practice the day before the open set, or 2 days before the open session. Mm-hmm. And I thought he was going to finish that fight. Ferguson basically circled the wagons and put him. Didn't Pettis break his hand?
Yeah,
and circled the
wagons. For round 3, Rufus called the fight.
Yeah, and again, that's my only concern. If Pettis breaks his hand when he connects with you, he's probably going to lose the fight if you stay in there. But if he doesn't break his hand, he knocks you out like he did to Wonderboy.
Yeah, that Wonderboy fight. I chalked that up to a lucky punch, honestly. Wonderboy wins that fight 9 out of 10 times, and Wonderboy was smoking him too.
I mean, he was up. He was basically up 2 rounds, and if that 10 more seconds, and that round is over. But
right.
Say whatever you want. I just think that. I don't know. I didn't really like what Cerrone had to say about his fight against Conor McGregor, and I don't think that's the do-all, end-all with me. But how do you want that fight so bad against McGregor, and then you can honestly say I couldn't get up for that fight?
Right.
I could understand him not getting up for a fight against basically name anybody else but McGregor, to be honest with you at this point. But a couple of his last fights. But how do you not get up against McGregor? He fought Iaquinta. Who's the guy he fought in New York City before that? Hernandez. He fought Hernandez. Like, he won those fights and got up for those fights. You don't get up for McGregor. Like, you have to earn the McGregor fight. So that was just weird for him to not be able to turn it on like that. But I think Pettis is going to finish him. So I think Pettis by KO TKO plus 185. Again, if you're a prop bet player, which I think this is a prop card, I think you can go there. But I like Pettis to win inside the distance or Pettis by KO TKO. CG, I'm sorry, you're the analyst here. I broke it down for you.
No, this is a joint effort, and I appreciate your analysis. I really do. We talk about fights all the time. We bounce ideas off each other all the time, and I don't think you're wrong. That was my initial lean, Pettis. Makes sense, right? Cerrone's coming off 3 consecutive TKOs where he was beat viciously, and that's why Pettis was my lean. Not to mention that they've already fought before, and Pettis beat him decisively in less than 2.5 minutes, right? Just chopped him down, because you never know what Donald Cerrone you're going to get. But when you look at Cowboys' last 3 losses, I mean, obviously Khabib's the champ. Cerrone's losses were to the number 1, number 2, and number 3 contender. Conor, Gaethje, Ferguson. I mean, you can't fault him for that, right? All 3 of those guys beat Pettis all day. And at the end of the day, it's very tough for me to bet on somebody that lands 2.97 strikes per minute, doesn't even land over 3 strikes per minute. He's low volume. He quits. And I think at this point in his career, he knows that his best days are behind him. He was the champ. He was the next big thing. He was on the cover of that fucking Wheaties box. And then RDA completely humbled his ass, exposed his piss poor grappling, wrestling at least, and Pettis has never been able to bounce back. You know, I had a couple nice wins over Chiesa and Wonderboy, but I don't even count that Wonderboy win because, like I said, that was an outlier. So that's the thing with me. I'm somebody that values pace, cardio, finishing prowess. He doesn't have any of that stuff. He's low volume. Cerrone, 4.3 strikes per minute, 1.2 takedowns per fight. At least he has volume. At least I know he's going to show up. And if Cerrone loses, it's because he got knocked the fuck out. It's not because he rolled over and quit like Pettis. So that's why my slight lean at this point, I changed stances, is Cowboy Cerrone. I mean, the data points to him. Pettis has just looked so bad. Even in Pettis' last fight against CDF, I mean, was just taken down and quit. Against Diaz, I thought that fight should have been stopped at one point, but Pettis quit. I mean, Pettis looks just terrible at this point. I just think he's there to collect a paycheck, hype his gym a little bit, his businesses, and that's it. I think Pettis is on his last fight of his UFC contract too. I know his little brother Sergio went over to Bellator. I won't be surprised if Pettis does the same thing. I mean, he's just fighting for a paycheck at this point. And I guess you can say the same about Cerrone, but I just think Cerrone is the more game fighter. Cerrone cares more. He's going to be more prepared. And like I said, man, for me, it comes down to pace, volume, and cardio. Cerrone has that. Pettis doesn't. Let's go Cowboy. This is a very important fight for me.
What do you say? What do you say to Cerrone's comments about the McGregor fight? What do you chalk that up to?
It doesn't surprise me. He's always had issues with that anticipatory anxiety, or some fights he just gets nervous as hell and he just freezes out there. How many times have we seen that? He did that against Jorge Masvidal. He did that against Darren Till. He did that against RDA. But then again, you see his fights, like you said, Alex Hernandez looks fucking amazing. You see his fight against L.I. Quinta. Holy shit. That was his best performance that I've ever seen out of him. Then you look at his performance against Mike Perry. He was the underdog in all 3 of those fights, I believe. But sometimes he shows up, sometimes he doesn't. I hate to call him a mental midget, but I mean, if it looks like a rat and smells like a rat, it's a fucking rat, right? I mean, and it sucks. I mean, you know, he's a better man than me if he's willing and brave enough to get in that cage and fight in front of millions of people. I mean, it's scary. Let's be honest. But at the same time, it's like, guy, you think at this point you'd get over that. You know what I mean? Or you take a step in the right direction. I don't know.
I do. That's why I'm on Pettis.
Yeah, he's a mental midget too, though.
Okay. So we got 2 midgets here. We got midget UFC fighting.
Side bet.
Someone's throwing us off YouTube real quick. All right, next fight up here. I mean, it's just basically who's gonna knock who out. Is Greg Hardy gonna get DeCastro, or is DeCastro gonna get Greg Hardy? I'm gonna go with DeCastro. I think DeCastro is gonna be able to knock out Hardy. I just don't really believe in Hardy. I don't like this fight to bet either side, but my lean, since I'm telling you winner round and everything, I think I'm gonna go Pettis round 2, KO TKO, and I'm gonna go DeCastro round 2, either 2 or 3. I'm gonna go round 2. DeCastro round 2, KO TKO.
Don't bet that. Don't bet that.
No, I'm not gonna bet. I'm just calling it. I'm calling my shot. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I mean, what's your analysis here? The only thing that I would bet here is inside the distance. I think this fight is going to finish.
I'm not so sure.
I'm not telling you, I think it's going to go. I think it's going to finish. I may bet it. I may parlay it with something else.
Okay.
But go ahead. What do you think here?
Only reason I would be a little hesitant to bet this inside the distance is Hardy hasn't went the distance in his last 2 fights versus Volkov and Benny Sassoli. My slight lean is Hardy. The guy lands more strikes per minute, lands almost 5 strikes per minute compared to DeCastro's 3.6. He has a 6-inch reach, and he knows how to use it. And the fact that he went the distance with Volkov, that's pretty impressive. Not to mention he was hurt that fight. I don't know if he broke his hand or something. I think he blocked one of Volkov's kicks, got hurt, and I think fought 2 more rounds with that injury. So Hardy's tough. He's athletic. And I don't know enough about DeCastro. Thus far in the UFC, he won 1 fight on the Dana White Contender Series via leg kicks, which were brutal and impressive. And then he had a flash KO over Tafa. Maybe he's good. I don't know. I need to see more. So I'm not willing to bet on DeCastro yet. Not to mention, the UFC isn't your typical sport, right? It's like a combination of WWF entertainment and sport. It's real, but at the same time, Dana White likes to push certain people. We know this, right? People know who Greg Hardy is because of his background, right? He's a villain. He's marketable. I feel like a lot of his fights are being handpicked. And so, they're putting Hardy against DeCastro, this guy that is 6-0 as a professional, even though he has losses as an amateur. And if Hardy beats DeCastro, it's going to look good, right? Beat a heavyweight coming off 2 knockout wins and, undefeated. So, yeah, because of that, I really believe that they're pushing Hardy. And DeCastro, maybe he's a world beater. Maybe he's really as good as some people think he is, but I'm not there yet. I need to see more. That's all. And to bet it inside the distance, I don't know. I feel like American Top Team is training Hardy to become more cerebral, more methodical, use his jab, keep the fights at distance. So I don't know. I don't know if he's going to go in for that kill shot.
So CJ, I don't know if you see, but Tyler just posted a comment. Damn, no invite. So he caught us. We tried to give him the Isaiah Thomas treatment on the USA team, the Dream Team.
Oh, the bad boys. Hey, that's a sore subject for me. You know that.
Well, that's why I used the reference. So I just sent him the StreamYard link. Let's see if he gets in here. But I don't disagree with what you're saying. I was laughing because I was once I saw that I posted it and sent him the invite. So let's see if he comes in. But no, I agree. I agree with what you're saying. I don't know. I've soured on Hardy. So I don't know. I think it's personal. Here we go. Hardy decision. I mean, I don't disagree with that either. I just feel like Hardy's gonna gas himself out a little bit. You can't use the pump anymore. So I think that's a lot of the reason why he fought Volkov the way he did, right? After using the pump, he didn't want to run out of gas again. So he kind of took a back seat, played the patient possum game. He took his loss like a man. Like he just wanted to be in there with a big time guy. I don't know. I'm not sold on Hardy. I wouldn't be surprised if Hardy wins by decision or De Castro wins by decision, because I think that Hardy's worried about gassing.
Hardy's still pretty young.
Yeah, and he's a stud athlete, but he has asthma problems. And if that gets the best of you, I mean, you're done.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's get into this next fight. And I know we both love this fight, and I'm pretty sure we're both betting this fight. This is going to be Calvin Kattar and Jeremy Stephens. And this is, it's basically, does Jeremy Stephens connect with a hook? Does he finish Kattar with a hook? I don't think so. I think Kattar is going to be able to methodically, give him the Shane Burgos treatment and just keep him at bay, hurt him when he comes in, use that jab. I mean, his jab is ridiculous. Talking about ridiculous jabs, I was sitting cage side for the Calvin Kattar Renato Moicano fight, and you want to talk about jabs. Moicano was jabbing Kattar like you wouldn't believe. I mean, he jabbed him into a nice little 4 or 5 month retreat there. But I think Kattar is going to be able to keep him at bay. I think that he can get a finish in the third round. I think if the finish comes late, it's going to be Kattar KO TKO in round 3, personally. And I think it's because Stephens is going to he's going to see that Kattar is up 2 rounds, or maybe it's even 1-1, but Kattar gets the first part of the third round, takes a little bit of lead with the damage in round 3. And personally, I think Kattar is going to wind up winning round 3 and or finishing him in round 3. So my official pick, I think I'm going to go Kattar third round KO TKO. I want all these fights to finish. All right. I don't know where you. I guess he's in Florida. No. Kattar's in Boston. Right?
Trains with Rob Font.
Yeah, he's in Boston. So I don't know. I guess he's in Boston. All right. CG, what do you think, bro?
Kattar's boxing is so much more crisp and technical than Stephens. Kattar lands 2 strikes more per minute than Stephens. But Stephens is another guy like Nico Price. He's erratic, tough, powerful, ridiculous leg kicks. But I think Kattar wins this more times than not. Can Stephens land that nasty hook? Yeah, but I don't think it's a probable outcome. I think Kattar wins a striking-based decision, but from a DK perspective, it concerns me a little bit because when Kattar wins a striking-based decision, he puts up 70 to 80 points, and his price tag is, I believe it's 8,900. So I like him more as a straight bet than I do in DraftKings. That's for sure. But I'm a big Kattar fan. It took me a while, but once he knocked out Shane Burgos, I think it was in the 3rd round of that fight, then he made a believer out of me. His boxing is awesome. It really is. Not to mention, if the Zabit fight goes into the championship rounds, who wins that fight? I think Kattar wins that fight. So
I think Kattar does too.
I think Kattar's like a top 6, maybe 7 featherweight. This guy's legit. Needs to work on his grappling a little bit, but I mean, his boxing's top notch.
All right, sir. I'm trying to tweet out the show. It is on Periscope Live right now, so
all right,
tweet out the show and get some more people watching. All right, so I guess we're both on Kattar there. Depends on if you're a parlay better. You throwing this in a parlay? You have this in a parlay, right?
I do.
Yeah, I thought you did.
I do.
All right, let's shut this down and get to the next fight.
Let's talk about Stephens real quick. Did you see his most recent interview with Ariel Helwani? He is a fucking kook.
I did not.
He said he broke Yair Rodriguez in that last fight. Come on, dude.
Really?
Yeah. Broke Yair.
But sir, did he win that fight?
He is out there.
Did he win that fight?
No, Rodriguez did. I will say, I think if that fight went 5 rounds, then maybe Stephens wins because Yair has the propensity to fade late in the championship rounds. But still, I mean, Rodriguez decisively floored him too. I think it was with a body kick. And that's the thing about Stephens. Like, he doesn't get knocked out very often, but he is susceptible to body shots. That's how Aldo beat him. So,
yeah, that's true.
hopefully Cater takes that into consideration. And this is personal too, because I heard Cater say in an interview that they were at a hotel somewhere at a previous card, and I think Steven's got in his face like he always does, and a lot of shit talking. So there's bad blood here. So this is gonna be a great fight. I can't wait for it.
I feel like if you look at those fights, though, Yair, you would have to say Yair's third round or fifth round spinning elbow is pretty legit.
Against Korean Zombie.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the best.
That wasn't even spinning. He like went down and then up with the elbow. That was fucking. I won. That won me a GPP.
Did it really?
That was the Saturday after my son Lewis was born. Yep.
Okay, I mean, I may have
$5,000 that night.
That was about it. All right, let's see here. We got Francis. You want to lead the dance here with this one?
Yeah, why not?
All right, so Francis, and I'm gonna try the name. Everyone can make fun of me if I screw this up, but Jairzinho Rosenstruck. Jairzinho Rosenstruck. Go ahead.
I think it's Jairzinho.
Jairzinho Rosenstruck. I think I got the Rosenstruck.
Yeah, we'll give it to you. It was pretty close.
All right, good.
So, no, believe it or not, I have low exposure to this fight from a betting perspective and a DK perspective. I know people are always high on Ngannou, and rightfully so, but you can't dismiss the fact that he lands 2.2 strikes per minute, and I get it. Part of the reason is because he ends fights so quickly with his power, but now he's fighting the most technical striker that he's ever faced. Rosenstruck has exceptional striking mechanics, the nastiest left hook in the heavyweight division. I mean, it is fucking picture perfect. Rosenstruck is no joke, honestly. The only reason that Overeem, pushed him to the limit in the manner that he did was because of the wrestling. And I'm hearing people say that Ngannou should wrestle Rosenstruck, and, maybe he should. I just know Ngannou's wrestling and ground game isn't the best either. But I don't know if you've been following Ngannou on Instagram or anything like that, but it looks like the dude's been training his ass off at Extreme Couture in Vegas. I mean, he looks ready to go. But, man, you look at some of Rosenstruck's film, I mean, the dude has similar knockout power. He won all of his UFC fights inside the distance by knockout. Junior Albini, Alan Crowder, Arlovsky with a fucking jab, I want to say. Or maybe that was Crowder. Maybe it was both. Overeem took Overeem's lip off. You know what I mean? Rosenstruck is no joke. And who do I think is going to win? Probably Ngannou, but I'm not that confident, especially at that line. And another concern is that it's going to be another staring contest similar to the Ngannou-Derek Lewis fight. So I don't know. I really don't. Not confident either way. So for the most part, it's a pass. From a betting perspective and a DK perspective, it's a pass.
I think from a DK perspective, this is a GPP fight if you want to throw it in on a couple lineups. I don't think you have to have it in a GPP, but I think you can. But again, it's the kind of fight where if Francis wins, you're going to get over 100 points because you're probably going to get the 10-point knockdown, right? And you're going to get the 90-point first-round finish. If it goes to the second round, 10-point knockdown, 75, second-round finish. Right. I personally think that when Jair is going to come in at some point and Francis is going to go after him. I did hear something about Francis being in tremendous shape. I know you mentioned it before. I heard it somewhere. I think I saw it on TV or something. I don't know if Ariel Helwani did something. But, he's in tremendous shape. I mean, he looks like, he can put the guy through the cage. He looks like he could put anybody through the cage. I just think that this is basically a contender fight, right? Like, whoever wins this fight is going to get the opportunity at a title shot. Whether, DC, fights again and, doesn't Stipe have an injury or something like that going on right now? So between those two guys, I would assume they're going to fight. And then, whoever wins would probably have to fight the winner of this fight. It doesn't make any sense if those guys are still kicking and punching. So at this point, I'm gonna go with Francis. I'm gonna go round 1 KO TKO. I think Rosenstruck is gonna come in, and again, not for nothing. Yeah, he did have that. I know you mentioned that left hook wasn't a left hook that got him late. He was going to lose that fight though.
He was.
Right? He was going to lose that fight. So he beats what did he beat? 2 or 3 lower level guys. And then he wound up fighting Alistair and beat him at the buzzer.
Pretty much, yeah.
Right? I mean, that's my take on
He
Jai.
walked away too, and I remember screaming because I had money on Rosenstruck, and I was like, no, hammer fist. And luckily the ref called it, but it was fucking as close as it gets.
But again, he should have lost that fight. I mean, if the ref doesn't call it, he loses the fight. And if he doesn't connect with that hook, he loses the fight.
Why does he lose the fight, though?
On rounds. I just think that he lost rounds.
Yeah, but because of grappling. That's where I was getting.
Okay. I mean, and again, yes, but are you telling me that he's going to want to – I mean, if Francis touches you, he kills you.
Understood, but I think the same about Rosenstruck.
All right.
I mean, I think these are two of the hardest hitters in the heavyweight division.
Who's going to lead this dance? Who comes in first?
That's what I'm concerned about. Honestly, that's why I don't want to bet on it. I'm worried it's going to be a fucking staring contest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you remember that Derek Lewis and Ngannou fight? I remember I had a 4-leg parlay. The only fight I needed to cash was Lewis and Ngannou inside the distance. Can you imagine how pissed off I was?
I mean, you should have been pissed off.
It was like a total collective 30 significant strikes or something stupid over the course of 15 minutes. So that's what I'm concerned about. I think Ngannou's going to respect Rosenstruck, and rightfully so. But I'm just concerned about a very, very low-volume fight. So that's why I'm staying away. I'm staying away from the DeCastro-Hardy fight for the same reason. I think Hardy's going to dance and jab.
All right, so CJ, I gotta ask you a question because I think everybody wants to see Tyler. So if I go over and look at the next fights upcoming, we have 2 cards next week. Agreed?
Correct. Yep.
I mean, are we doing Brews and Bets next week again? Are we doing this for the people during this time of need?
Might have to. Well, there's a Wednesday card, right? Next Wednesday?
Next Wednesday, yeah. I mean, we could do this like Monday night. Because Sunday night, everybody's going to be watching The Last Dance, so we can't do it Sunday night. So maybe Monday night.
You mean they're not going to listen to us over The Last Dance?
I mean, they may. If we do it Sunday, they could always listen Monday morning when they're driving to work. Actually, no one's working, so I guess we're working from home. All right, so either way, I guess I was trying to segue into something bigger, but I guess not. All right, CJ, I'm going to throw this one to you.
This Brandon Parker? Holy shit.
Well, that's why I'm asking. 10K on Cejudo minus 210. What do you think about that bet? Start your analysis with, would you put 10K on Cejudo minus 215? Because I know I wouldn't. What do you think?
Listen to Brews and Bets before you place a bet like that. Holy shit, brother. Jesus. So
are we both on Dominic?
In Brandon's defense, there are a lot of sharp people that are very confident on Henry. And although he's obviously a great fighter, Olympian, I'm not as confident that he runs through Dom or finishes Dom. Like I'm hearing people say that Cejudo's going to finish Dom. I just don't see it. There's a lot of.
Let me stop you right there. Who is saying this? Because a couple times you've said I'm here. I don't know who you're hearing this from.
There's a couple podcast shows out there. We'll talk.
Oh, you don't want to say. You don't want to say. Oh, I put them on the spot.
We'll talk after the podcast. There's some very well-known, reputable podcast shows that I love and listen to. So they're just making my stance a little more difficult on me. That's all.
Okay, go ahead.
That's why I just want to put in my 2 cents. I think the recency bias is because Garbrandt just ran through Cruz in that last fight. You know what I mean? Dropped Cruz at least 4 times. But Cruz went the distance. People don't realize that there was a period of time where Cody Garbrandt was a fucking savage. I mean, he was running through everybody. His boxing mechanics are phenomenal. I kind of feel bad for Garbrandt because when you think about it, he lost twice to a Dillashaw that was juiced up on EPO. Artificial strength, artificial durability, artificial explosiveness. Garbrandt he knocked down TJ in the first round of their first fight. If TJ's not on EPO, I don't know if he comes back and wins. So I guess what I'm getting at is like Garbrandt, his trajectory was through the roof. I mean, he was looking great. And then TJ, who's on EPO, just completely ruins his trajectory and his legacy. But what I'm getting at is that was not a bad loss. And I don't see Henry coming in here and piecing up Dom in the same fashion that Cody did. Look at Henry's last couple of wins. I mean, did he really beat DJ? That was damn close. I mean, I had it for DJ, but it was a close fight. You gave it to Henry. That's fine. I've always been a believer that if you want to beat the champ and dethrone the champ, you have to beat him decisively. And I didn't think that Henry did that to DJ. But whatever. I mean, Cejudo's a great fighter, but you look at his last two wins, a flash KO over Dillashaw, which is impressive. And then he beats Moraes, who was completely gassed out in the third round. Moraes was smoking Cejudo in the first round. You know, gassed out little by little, and people are acting like it didn't play a role. I mean, that's exactly what fucking happened. Moraes was winning. He gassed out like he has the tendency to do. Cejudo capitalizes, right? Dom's not going to gas. He's never gassed. He's got cardio for days. He's hard to hit. He's got the best footwork in that division in the entire UFC. I mean, Dom is a very frustrating person to fight. I think Dom is going to stick and move. He's going to frustrate Cejudo. I think he's going to win a striking-based decision, and I think Dom's going to win the fight.
So, again, I'm going to call this a CG hot take, but I tweeted out, I don't know if it was before you told me you were on Dom or after, but I tweeted out early in the week that I think Dom's going to win a decision.
Yeah.
So we're in agreement on this fight. And again, I'm not a huge fan of Cejudo. So call me a hater if you want. I'm biased. I get that. I just want you to realize that when I'm saying this. But I think that, as you said earlier, what Cody Garbrandt did to Dom, nobody else can do that.
Exactly. And that's what it comes down to. Does Cejudo have the boxing mechanics of Cody Garbrandt?
And again, I think by round two, we're all sitting there with like our tongues are on the ground. Like, what are we watching right now? Like, we did not expect to see that kind of a performance from Cody Garbrandt. I love Cody after that fight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I hate that he lost fights after that.
That's what I'm saying.
But if he had a little bit more patience, he could still be the UFC champ.
He could.
The problem is he had the patience against Dom because he knew he had to beat him that way. Yeah. And then afterwards, and I know I'm going on a rant about Cody, but afterwards, all he wants to do is just knock people out, and he's getting himself, lit up. And don't get me wrong, yeah, you're absolutely right about what you said with TJ. If he's not on that shit, he's probably not coming back. But he was. So where do you go from here? Cody supposedly is going to be fighting soon, from what I hear.
His chin is waxed.
Yeah, I think it is. Who's the other one? Munoz, right? Pedro Munoz. Pedro Munoz put a beating on him too, right?
Yeah, but that's what Cody does now. I think he just goes out there with reckless abandon because he knows he doesn't have a chin, and he engages in these firefights. And obviously, the guy doesn't have the best fight IQ. But I mean, the biggest reason that his chin is gone is because of TJ, who was on fucking EPO. I mean, Garbrandt smoked Dillashaw in that first round of that first fight, and he should have won that fight. If TJ's not on EPO, I don't think he recovers. He definitely doesn't come back and win, in my opinion. So it's just, honestly, it's a travesty. But I just hate how that's being used as evidence that Cejudo is going to beat Cruz. Two completely different fucking fighters. You know what I mean?
I agree.
Henry does not have the striking acumen that Garbrandt has. That's why my lean, and I'm not overly confident, but I think Cruz is going to win. Cruz is a great fighter. And there's been a long layoff. I get it, but, I mean, Cruz is still what? I mean, he's...
But again, anybody who watches the UFC knows that Dominic Cruz does not believe in ring rust, right? Like he says it on every telecast that he can. He does not believe in ring rust. So if he doesn't believe for anybody else, he doesn't believe for himself. He's already had long layoffs, right?
4-inch reach too.
Yeah. Well, listen, I'm on Dom. I'm on Dom by decision. So let's just go I guess I got to go down a little bit here to see what that's going to pay. Dominic Cruz wins by decision is plus 270. I wouldn't mind that at all. Goes to decision minus 190. I wouldn't mind that at all. I
No.
think even if Dom loses, I think he's going to make Henry earn it.
Yep.
But the fight that everybody has, I guess I shouldn't say the fight everyone's been waiting for, because I think everyone's been waiting for Habib and Ferguson. But this is a pretty good fight. I mean, everybody loves to watch Gaethje when he's in there, and I think this is a great fight. And I'm gonna say it right now. I know we agree, but I think this is a parlay pick, and I know exactly where you're at. So I'm gonna let you introduce it, because I know where you put a whole lot more money on this than I have. So go ahead, bro.
No, I'm super excited for this fight. Completely jacked up. This might go down as one of the most violent fights in UFC history, honestly. Two of the most exciting fighters ever. Gaethje coming off 3 consecutive first-round KOs. I think he can sleep Ferguson, who has defensive deficiencies, but I think it needs to happen early if it's going to happen. I think the longer the fight goes, it favors the boogeyman. Obviously, I'm sure I'm recycling a lot of analysis, because a lot of this, a lot of these breakdowns are pretty obvious for the most part, but usually I'm very objective when breaking down fights. Following the numbers typically leads to conclusive outcomes, and Gaethje averages almost 9 fucking strikes per minute. So I guess you can say my analysis is subjective in this fight. Ferguson is a savage. I mean, his combination of pace, volume, versatility of offensive attacks, ability to overcome adversity while being concussed in the middle of a fight and coming back and winning. I mean, the guy is like nothing I've ever seen before. He is my favorite fighter to watch. The guy has everything. I mean, Division II All-American wrestler, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt under Eddie Bravo, excellent fundamental boxing. The one thing that concerns me about Tony is his striking defense. He was dropped by Lando Venata and Anthony Pettis. That should not be happening. I mean, if Gaethje lands, Ferguson might not be that lucky. He might not be able to recoup and come back. So Ferguson's got to be careful. He's got to fight intelligently, which he typically doesn't do. But the pick is Ferguson. I wouldn't be shocked if Gaethje pulls it off, honestly. But if, like I said, if Gaethje knocks out Tony, I think it has to happen in round 1. Once the fight reaches round 2, I think the longer the fight goes, it definitely favors Tony. So I want to say round 3, Darce choke, Tony Ferguson.
So there's a little bit of line movement here. All right. You can get the value, plus EV, minus EV. If you go back to Yanni, he gave us a little tutelage on trying to find plus EV bets here. I think Ferguson's at the right price right now, but I also think all the pressure is on Ferguson here, because if Gaethje beats him, he's probably knocking him out in rounds 1 or 2. All right, and if you knock out Ferguson in round 1, you know that Justin Gaethje is going to get the next fight against Habib. So whoever wins this, I mean, this is more or less for Ferguson's belt, right? Ferguson basically never lost that title, as the next up, the next contender here. So, and he did win a belt, right? Didn't he win a belt waiting for Habib?
Yeah, beat Kevin Lee.
He beat Kevin. Okay, so that was the Kevin Lee fight.
That was interim. Yep.
So again, I think that all the pressure is on Ferguson here. And I think that this is a great matchup for Justin Gaethje, because Ferguson's gonna come right at him. The thing is, in round 1 and 2, he's got to get him in round 1 and 2, because Ferguson is gonna come at him, and by round 3, he's going to gas. So now, I think this is Gaethje has an opportunity, basically a puncher's chance, right? I mean, I know it's a great punch, and he's gonna throw a lot of punches, but he's got a puncher's chance to beat Ferguson in rounds 1 or 2. Okay. Rounds 3 or 4, once it gets later into the fight, I mean, you got to think that Gaethje is gonna. I mean, again, go back. The only fight that I know that Gaethje even got to the 4th round was Dustin Poirier, and he could barely walk in that fight. Right? Yeah. Poirier was. I don't even know how Poirier was able to last in round 4, and he was able to beat Justin in round 4 at the beginning of round 4.
Correct.
So with all that being said, I don't think that happens to Tony Ferguson. I think Ferguson finishes it if it gets to round 3. I think Justin has a legit shot in round 1 if he lands a punch. But CG, here's my question to you. Do you think Ferguson tries to get this down to the ground early?
No. No,
So
I don't.
You think this is going to be a striking match until somebody gets hurt?
I think he just puts the pressure on his opponent, waits for the opportunity for them to go in for a takedown or just lower their head at all. And once he does, he's going in for the Darce.
Okay.
Just like he did with Edson Barbosa, just like he did with a lot of these guys. And I think another noteworthy observation, if you look at Gaethje's last 3 fights, knocked out Cerrone, Barbosa, and James Vick. None of those guys really apply pressure. They're more methodical. They sit back. Gaethje applied the pressure on them. Gaethje knocked them out. Tony Ferguson typically has you moving back and fighting off your back foot. Like,
correct.
Ferguson is not going to give you that space. You look at Gaethje's 2 losses before that. Dustin Poirier likes to put the pressure on you, and Eddie Alvarez, another high-volume fighter, right? And then Gaethje's win before that was Michael Johnson, another more methodical fighter that likes to sit back and wait.
Yeah, so, no idea how he won that fight. I mean, that was the fight of the year. But
that was amazing, yeah. I mean, yeah, can't wait for Saturday, man. Thank God the UFC's back. Jesus Christ, it's been too long.
So again, CG, I'm on Ferguson to win this fight. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna say Ferguson round 3, and I'll go by submission. So Ferguson, submission. What do you like? What's your favorite bet? Because I know you have a bunch of bets here, and I'm putting it up there. I think you can see it.
Yeah.
What's your favorite bet?
My favorite bet is for Bruce Overdoom inside the distance at minus 135, I think it was.
I'm sorry. I was talking about this fight, jerk.
This fight. Okay, sorry. Let's go. I mean, fight doesn't go to decision is obvious, right? But that's minus 545. That's more of a parlay piece. Let's go. I don't want to give people bad advice here. I think to bring the line down a little bit and still have a decent ROI, fight won't start round 4 minus 240.
Okay. So
I think you can hammer that. I don't think this is going to see round 4. The only time Gaethje made it to round 4 was against Poirier, and he was knocked out in round 4. But, I mean, the way that Ferguson applies pressure, I think Gaethje's just going to naturally freak out a little bit and just start throwing bombs, gas himself out. And that's when Ferguson takes advantage of the situation. So,
CG, the minute you said minus 240, didn't you hit that at minus 190?
I sure did.
Right? Like there's a lot. I just noticed that you said minus 240 round 4. I was like, wait a minute. And if you can see the odds here, those odds were definitely better earlier in the week. So you got yourself a pretty good line there.
Got a great line.
Yeah, I think it's actually still about minus 190.
So that dropped today. A big bet came in, huh?
A big bet definitely came in. You see that drop down there.
To me, that's what it should be. I mean, if you do your research, Justin Gaethje has 23 professional fights, and he's seen round 4 once. And now he's fighting a high-pressure savage in Tony Ferguson.
Yeah.
Steve Burrell. You fucking prick. It's not a ponytail. It's man buns, baby.
Well, listen, he likes the man bun, but I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to do the outro. And CG, we're coming back on Monday night with Thai Slice, the 3 of us. We might as well do this. Quarantine, a couple more beers, and a man bun.